And this right here is going to be one of my more ambitious fan projects. So if you're gonna just, do one of these I made an old Zelda game into a modern Zelda game kind of thing, there's a lot of different ways to approach this. One is you just try to do a one-to-one copy of it, basically just take the whole game, the whole vibe, and just build it in 3D. Another angle you could take is, turning it into something gritty and updating it to a different sort of game style. Another angle would be making it more like a modern Zelda game. This is kind of an intersection of those three, being that Link to the Past is not just my favorite video game, but one of my favorite things in existence. Just getting to walk around in this map is just fun for me. So, even just as a personal project, it's just cool to go and download a bunch of assets and just throw this together and get to run around like this. As a long-term project, I think I'd like to turn it into sort of a crossroad of the original Link to the Past, Breath of the Wild, and I don't know, just modern AAA fantasy type games. The first phase was to basically get the map and turn it into a 3D space. Even though this is not the aesthetic I'm going for, having the map laid over it is just it's just really appealing. This is a cool aesthetic. I don't know. Somebody should make a game like this. But, I'm trying to go for, making Hyrule more photoreal and gritty, in the sort of, The Witcher modern fantasy games like that. I would say the biggest hurdle with this is playable characters. It's, first off, just getting 3D models, if you have any specifics in mind, just forget about it, it's over. You need to just download the 3D models that just exist, or just, do first person. Not only is it difficult just to get a decent 3D model of something, it's also programming a 3D character in third person is astronomically more difficult than programming first person. So I've got this, swinging, but I haven't fixed it to where, he can do it while running. You don't have to worry about stuff like that in first person. Not to the degree that you do with the third person. They both have all of their own challenges, blah, 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 blah. It's very nuanced, but yeah, that's the first thing I needed to do with this was, expand the map. I just kind of wanted to stretch it out. So if there is a place that has one house, then that is a place that has many houses. The castle would have to be really big. Same thing for Kakariko Village. Anywhere there is a single house, there are multiple houses. So this would be your Kakariko Village. And this is another one of the points where I started to realize that an asset flip with any specificity to it is not an asset flip. Okay? Right? Okay? So I started making the tavern. Look, the stairs work, and I'm not in the horror engine, so maybe that's just the problem. Aesthetics-wise, what I'm going for is not exactly how the game looked, but how the game feels to play. It feels epic and cool as hell, but it looks like a cutesy little cartoon. But as you can see, there is a major lighting issue in here. I was building this tavern out of so many different assets. I was using the modular medieval house asset pack just to, get the walls, but then, for, a set of stairs like this, for the bar, the rafters, you can see some really bad, models got cut up. And then putting all of that together, that's where you really get into trouble. Is you think, okay, I'm just going to slap a bunch of different assets together. People have so many different ways of approaching building things and making video games that when you just try to slap assets together, they never work well together. You have to do so much work to get different asset packs to work together that it's easier to just learn how to do it yourself. At least for me. I still haven't gotten into 3D modeling because I think I've mentioned before that I do sculpt in real life. 3D modeling has, for some reason, just eluded me. I've tried it many times, and I still haven't found a tool that makes sense to me. One of the coolest things that you can do in this map that you can't do in the original video game is going to be going up to the mountain and looking down at Hyrule. Like, just check that out, you know? Yeah, I think the next phase of building out the map is going to be kind of getting away from just a one-to-one increase of the original map and start to make it more realistic in terms of landscape, because, you know, right now these mountains could not exist anywhere in reality, you know? But so, like, to kind of keep a mountain there, but to make it more like a real mountain. There's also just like a couple of Easter eggs. Got a windmill with a well right in front of it. But it's not in Kakariko Village. It's over here in the upper right of Hyrule, and it's decaying. Yeah, this would be the puny Lake Hylia of Link to the Past. And over here is just, you know, if you've played enough Zelda games, then you know what this is. My favorite little Easter egg that I put in here is the Master Sword and its pedestal. The idea here was to take the Temple of Time and decay it and use it as the same pedestals. You know, the pillars and the windows are all where they would have been in the Ocarina of Time. Just the exact same setup, you know? Like, look at it. It's the same thing. Oh my god. All of these things dangling down from the canopy up there is because I was basically modifying trees to just be leaves without trunks. So the Lost Woods, I think, is a good example of why just taking something like the Link to the Past map and enlarging it isn't really enough, and you kind of need to just rebuild it as a more modern-day map. Like, walking through these downed logs as a way to get lost in the Lost Woods, it's really lame in a 3D space. But I did get it working. I did get the logs to, like, actually work as teleportation. This is another one of those things that I feel like a lot of people are going to have opinions on how to kind of build this out. So if you do have any ideas, you know, go ahead and let me know. Because should the forest be traversable, or should it be blocked off by, like, the forest being too thick to go into? Should it be built out more so that the mountains are more realistic? Just kind of make it like a Breath of the Wild map? Oh, and this big black square over here is because, you know, if you start building out stuff like the Link to the Past Hyrule, you can do cool stuff like this. I don't know how long it's been, but I've just been loading stuff for a while. So this is my Alice in Wonderland map. This is something I would actually like to finish. Premise here is to make a video game based on Alice in Wonderland, which is in the public domain, so I could actually release this. It would be more puzzle-based. More than anything, I just kind of wanted to rebuild the world. Again, you know, taking a bunch of different things that have been pre-built and putting them together in a new context. It's just a fun thing to do as a hobby. As you can see from the dodo here, this would all be based much more off of the book illustration rather than the Disney movie. Which, shocker, the Disney movie is not in the public domain. You cannot steal from Disney without them coming for you. I'll show you in just a minute here why this got, let's call it soft-locked. Well, yeah, that's a fair way to put it. Like, why this project is hung up right now. But, you know, we got the White Rabbit's house with a little ladder outside, and there's a lizard named Bill in the chimney. These houses are a prefab that I got from the Unreal Marketplace. This was kind of something like, okay, if the White Rabbit's gonna have a house, then there should probably be like a whole neighborhood that's just for like little animals. I'm gonna back out of Wonderland here and just take you on the same journey that Alice goes on through the book to show you the maps that I've made. There has been no gameplay implemented for this because of the impasse that I reached with it. So this is where the game would start, is at the picnic and running into the woods. This is one of these areas where I just don't understand how optimization works, because I was just trying to make a forest, and it's like, you put these trees in here and you just immediately start I mean, it's so choked up, and this isn't even half as dense as I would want it to be, and it's just super low detail, like there's nothing on the ground. There's not much to this map. There's like a little village in the distance, and, you know, a nice Victorian home, and a cat. Oh my god, what is it? It's a rabbit hole! The rabbit hole was really fun to build out. Just getting all of the weird things attached to the walls, going kind of nuts with lighting and color. But you gotta be careful with, like, how fast does somebody fall in this? Because if you're falling at any speed that's close to reasonable, it's just gonna be, like, just not gonna be anything you can do with it. So you'd have to be falling, like, really slow. But the whole thing with the rabbit hole is that it's supposed to go on for so long. So there's definitely some kind of gameplay mechanic that could be built into this. The White Rabbit, he's like the only character that you ever see topside in the book. So I like to think that he just leaves Wonderland and he's kind of like a collector. And this is sort of like his secret hoard. And of course things still need to be very British, because Alice in Wonderland's a very British book. And then, woof, on to the next level. And so this would be the bottom of the rabbit hole. This is another thing where, like, if you just take the context of the book, you can kind of infer something more than that. Alice chases him around a corner. If she can chase him around one corner, then that would mean maybe there's multiple corners. So I kind of just built this out into this huge sort of liminal space mansion that just goes on, and there's different rooms with just a collection of tables, and then this one's a collection of statues. Then, of course, this would be a collection of doors. Gotta have a key on a table. Oh, and one other very important thing. There we go. The whole thing fills up with water. Into the tiny door. Alice cries her eyes out, and that leads into this lake, which then goes to the caucus race around the rock, on over to a small animal village. Well, see, the thing is at this point she gets shrunk, so all of this stuff would be like, you know, yeah, right here she'd be really tiny and would interact with a dog. Not a pug. I need a different model for this. But you know what happens next is she would then meet the caterpillar. So he's down here hanging out on his mushroom. Then on to the Duchess's house. I do have a frog footman out here that looks like crap. So this would be the interior of the Duchess. And all of this is based directly off of the illustrations from the book. Basically, the idea is, like, every time there's an instance from the book, it should be a new puzzle that you have to solve. I kind of like the way this Cheshire Cat is coming together. He's actually just a cat model, like a toony cat model that I found, and then I made a Cheshire Cat face to put on him. But I've got to get him, like, kind of following the camera, like, following the player. And, again, it just kind of broke with the skeleton. So if we kind of come out of the told you would here, you see I've got the rabbit's house and the hatter's house, because the tea party is actually at the rabbit's house, and also the Cheshire Cat's kind of like, oh, you can go that way, that's the Mad Hatter's house. That means that when you're here, there should be two directions that you can go. One of them Rabbit and the other the Mad Hatter. Even though Alice never goes down this way in the book, it's implied that it exists. So this is sort of like my Mad Hatter's house. It's sort of a topsy-turvy dump. I was thinking like trailer trash hoarders, like trailer trash hoarders that but also like runs a hatter business out of his home. The rabbit's house is a little bit more detailed, that it, you know, it sort of implies like a rabbit shape to it. But you would enter through here and come upon the tea party. Got all the different types of chairs. I mean, I just kind of went ham downloading every kind of glass or anything related to tea making that I could find. This is where you'll start to see the cracks in what I'm trying to do here. The Dormouse here, see, he actually has this this hole in his mouth and this like chamber on the bottom of it, the model, and that's because this is actually a 3D printable bank. That's not an NPC. You just can't. My Hatter over here, he's got issues. Again, some dream logic happens. Like, there's the Queen of Hearts castle, but the way Alice gets there, she doesn't walk there. She just goes through a door right there at the tea party. So I'd have to have some kind of teleportation stuff happening here where you go through this door and you come out. The village here is a little less stylized than the animal village because this is like where the humanoid people live, like the playing card people. But it would go directly into this hedge maze where you've got some guys painting some roses red and like a legitimate maze that you have to figure out and decipher. That's the whole point in the book. It's not at all in the movie, but like all she's trying to do is get to a garden that she saw earlier. She finally gets to it, and it's the Queen's garden where she plays croquet. I've got the croquet set up here, some flamingos. I think I've got some hedgehogs around here somewhere. Oh, there's one. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna have that kind of crap in here. Get out. Get out. I do like how the Queen's castle is coming together. This is another like modular set. It just basically comes with, like, this doorway and this wall and the round turrets. And then this is the courtroom. I am not even gonna play like I had a hand in this. This was a courtroom, like, asset pack. I basically just kind of, like, added a few details. You know, I put this big wall here with the hearts and the chairs for the Queen and the Jack and the King. The witness stand for Alice, and then make it taller so that she can like grow, and they can be like, "You are now a mile high, you gotta leave," and she's like, "No, I'm not." Little jury booth for the animals. Even though I'm saying I don't have any game mechanics worked out, there's obviously something really missing, and that's the characters. This is probably the biggest hurdle that I've come across in as just getting playable characters. Again, if you just go to the Unreal Marketplace, there's countless playable characters. But that's only useful if you want to do an asset flip with no specifics. If I want a bear, I can get a bear. If I want a girl who has her hair pulled back but also has bangs that go down to her chin and she's wearing a black tank top, if I want that, it's right there. Want something specific, you have to make it yourself. And like I said, I have not mastered the art of 3D modeling. I've gotten pretty good at modifying things. You know, here's just like a dodo model that I found, and I put some human hands in it. And I know that that's creepy and disturbing, but that's how the dodo looks. I do really love this guy. The griffin is my favorite character. I love the drawing when he's just kind of like napping. So, but this is just somebody else's griffin model. I was able to find that. I need a different dog. There's a video on my Instagram of how I made this guy. He is modified from several different models for this. Like, that's like a modern day hoodie that I chopped up. Boots from like a medieval character. This is just a playing card that I then pinned to this cartoon character's body, whose body I chopped up into all these. This was a frog footman made from Meshi, I think it's called, which is you're supposed to be able to like type in a prompt and like AI just spits out a model. And this is the version that I improved, and you can see it looks like dog shit. This one looks great, but doesn't have any coloring on him. This guy and this Mad Hatter body right here, those were made from Hero Forge, which, if you don't know, I'm not even supposed to be using it this way, but I just wanted to so that I could, like, play with, you know, getting characters in the game. This is Hero Forge. It's a website where you can customize your own miniatures for, like, tabletop gaming. It is one of the greatest character creators that I've ever used. It's just incredible. Like, the options it has, the style is great, but they only allow you to download 3D printing files. So even though they have a setting in here for coloring and painting your model, those colors don't come with the model when you download it, because it's just a 3D printing file. And none of that matters anyway, because the user agreement on this website doesn't allow you to use the models in the way that I'm using them here. Of course, they can't do anything about me making a personal use out of it. I can mess around with this all I want, but I can't make a video game like this. This is all temporary anyway. This is a model of the Mad Hatter's head that is book accurate, put on a model of the Mad Hatter's body that is Disney accurate. This is the kind of hoops I've gone through trying to make a usable character. But I'm gonna say it again, the Hero Forge tool is just amazing. I wish they would allow people to use the models in video games and let them download like a higher poly count. But none of that compares to the issues I have had making a proper Alice. This is just the scariest bunch of crap. The only thing that I ever got to actually is this Disney model of Alice. You know, of course, like the Walt Disney movie, super popular. Somebody actually made an Alice model. I don't want it to be the Disney Alice model. So, you know, I made her dress yellow and her hair brown because that's the way John Tenniel colored it. Because I know how to modify models. I was under the impression that, like, all I needed to do was, like, get a model of a girl and put a dress on her and give her some blonde hair. So this is, like, obviously, like, a pretty good model. But I was able to modify this one. And then for it to be optimized in any way, you don't want all of this geometry that's like hidden by her clothes to exist at all. So you want to like chop the arms off, chop the head off, and like attach them to the dress, not necessarily try and put the dress on the character. And this dress, right now, this looks great. This, I think, was as close as I got to a working Alice model. So never mind the fact that hair is, of course, a giant pain in the ass. Anybody in the know already knows what the problem's going to be here, but this was something that I had to learn. But just like attaching this dress to her starts falling apart a lot by trying to give it any kind of movement. Trying to get a dress to move with a body, it's like stretching instead of moving. Like, basically I'm saying that to make a decent Alice model that would just like feel really good to play, it needs to be built by somebody who knows what they're doing. It can't be just modified from a bunch of different models that get mushed together. That doesn't work. I even took like these different chunks that I was trying to like piece together, and I sent them to a guy on Fiverr. Like, he was like a 3D modeler, and I was like, hey, just modify these so that the topography works with animation. He just sent it back to me and said, after like 5 days, he was like, it can't be done. Not with this model. See, you can come on here, and this will really excite you if you're looking for pieces of, like, look at all these great outfits and clothing. A lot of these cannot be applied to a character and still work. They're just built in a pose with whatever body type, unless the clothing is made to be rigged for a character. It's completely unusable in a video game. Again, if you have specifics, you're just shit out of luck. So before I get into the King of the Hill update, I wanted to just show you guys why I said that I have kind of a nightmare surrounding a staircase. Is because I'm trying to build a spiral staircase in this other thing. I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy, and it's got spiral staircases in it, and walking down those things is like a drunk simulator. So the thing that all of this is building towards, even the King of the Hill video game, all of the stuff that I've been learning for Unreal Engine, is for this project right here. That I'm going to call Project A&W. And this is my own video game that's kind of like my dream video game. If I had to give you the elevator pitch, it would probably be that this is a open world urban exploration game that is seeped in sort of a urban fantasy